Welcome, everybody, to Pick and Roll, powered by the Hammer Betting Network. This is the show where we go through the slate of NBA games on the night, looking for the best bets for you to make. And to do that, we bring on at PipsNBA on Twitter. Follow him there, and on this show, he gives us his picks. I am your host, Jacob Gramegna. You can follow me on Twitter, or you can catch me on my YouTube channel for Raptor-specific content, Amateur Hour Sports. And today is very, very exciting. We have all 30 NBA teams in action for an absolutely loaded slate. The NBA has said that they're making all of the games free to watch on the NBA app as well, so you can follow along any of the picks that we give out today with ease, completely for free. This is exciting. Pips, I'm sure you're feeling good today about the slate that we have.
Yeah, the slate looking great. So many great spots, and it will have. I will need to put like tons of hours into research and came up with a lot of picks, but it's looking promising. And yeah, so many great spots.
Yeah, and to help get us through this loaded slate, we do have 4 official plays for you guys today. Unfortunately, from Friday, we understand it's not been the best start to the picks on this show. It's been a smaller sample size, but we are really working to try to turn it around. Friday's picks go 1 for 3. There was some bad beats. There was some that maybe it was just the wrong spot, but we're working with the process that we have. We believe in the process. Pips definitely believes in all the picks that he's given out, and we're confident that things will turn around. And no better night to do it, as I mentioned, with this loaded slate. We're feeling great. But before we get into that, we want to talk about some teams that are not feeling great. I want to briefly discuss at least other than the Lakers and the Warriors, the most disappointing teams that we've seen so far this season based on their expectations. I've not told Pips what mine is, but he's told me his before the show. And why don't you dive into your most disappointing team other than the Lakers and the Warriors, because they would win if that was the case.
Yeah, my pick will be Los Angeles Clippers because I was very high on them prior to the season, and if you look at their record, we can't see much. They are 5-5 in 10 games. But when you look at the teams they had probably the easiest schedule so far. They played twice against the Thunders and the Rockets. They played twice against Utah Jazz. They play Lakers, Kings, Spurs. I mean, that's like probably the easiest schedule you can have. And they have the second worst offensive rating in the entire NBA, second to the Los Angeles Lakers. So two teams from Los Angeles are having first and second worst defensive rating. And at least Lakers played some decent teams, but Clippers are just straight up terrible. I couldn't believe what I'm watching when I watch them because I have so much respect for their coach Lou. I mean, he's one of the best minds in the NBA, and the things just aren't working. Yeah, I'm concerned about them not looking promising at all.
Yeah, Clippers definitely not been looking good this season. It's always a wonder if Kawhi or Paul George will play in any specific game. It seems like they're really going with the mindset that they just have to make the playoffs and then they'll figure it out from there. But time and time again in the NBA, we've learned that that doesn't work. You need a high seed, you need home court advantage, and you need team camaraderie. You need the chemistry and you need momentum. If the Clippers continue like this, they won't have that. My pick here, and I could have gone for the Sixers, but we've talked about them a lot. My personally most disappointing team this season has been the Minnesota Timberwolves. I was very, very high on them going into the season as a regular season team. I understand maybe the Gobert Cat thing isn't necessarily going to work in the playoffs, but I thought regular season, you've given Cat a proper interior defender for the very first time. I thought Anthony Edwards, who, I mean, granted, he's been quite good still. I thought he was going to be able to put on like an all NBA type season. Same with Cat, same with Gobert, near those levels. I had Gobert as my pick for the defensive player of the year, and it's only 10 games in, but nonetheless, they're 5-5. Their defense has not looked good. Their offense has looked choppy. This too big system that I thought would work regular season wise, not playoffs. Right now, it doesn't even look good in the regular season. And Rudy Gobert right now is out for health and safety protocols, and they just lost a big one to the Bucks. But even still, I mean, have you been watching the Timberwolves? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I watched the last couple of games of them, and I completely agree. But coming to the season, I actually had some questions about Towns and Gobert working together
Mhm.
because Towns just struggling when he goes out on the perimeter. He's poor decisions, and every team so far had so many wide open threes because rotations from D'Angelo Russell and Towns, and he's just too slow to play the four. And yeah, and they actually had also one of the easiest schedules so far, which is like they played Spurs three times, they played Houston, they played Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder twice. Like they playing against some tanking teams, and yet they struggle. They actually played the best game probably so far this season against the Phoenix Suns, and yeah,
And
but
they lost by 9.
yeah, they weren't even close to winning. So, and
Yeah.
Edwards probably playing the best out of them, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge change, huge new
Yeah.
stuff, and I could see them improving over the season. Yeah, they have a pretty good core, and I think they'll figure it out. So I don't know what's the ceiling for them, but they'll get better.
Yeah. And I said last week that this was a team that didn't have the offseason to work together. Rudy Gobert wasn't with the team. This is like a new group of players trying to figure out a completely different play style to last season. So maybe a bit of time will be better for this team. But still, things to work on. Okay, about halfway through, and we have a loaded slate. We have 4 official picks, so we are going to dive into that now. And the first of 4 official plays, we're going to be going to those Oklahoma City Thunder players as they are visiting the Detroit Pistons. Battle of the Victor Wembanyama teams. The two teams maybe that probably going to be near the bottom near the end of the season. But one player who probably would have a say against that on the Thunder is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Canadian, and we have him on the slate. What is the pick for this one?
So the pick for this one is Shea Gilgeous Alexander over 28.5 points. And yeah, he's minus 105 at bet MGM. He actually opened at 27.5, but already moved, and I think he will move even more. Can you show the graph of
Yep.
his? So this is Shea over the last 30 games when he is playing 30 plus minutes. He covered this line in 80% of the games. And safe to say, the schedule wasn't easy. He's actually playing against the worst defensive team in the league today. And he did this against way better teams. Like he scored 33 points against Clippers. They struggle with offense, but their defense is great. 38 points against Dallas, who is also above average defense. So 37 against Orlando and Denver. So yeah, he's coming to this game. He's just playing amazing this season, unstoppable. And yet he was humbled in the last game with the Bucks. They are the best defense in the league, and he struggled a lot. So I think this is a great spot after a struggling game. And he's playing against Cade Cunningham and some up and coming young players, and his motivation for this game should be high. Last season, he scored 30 points in direct matchup with Cade, and I think he should score 30 plus without any problems today.
Yeah, not a lot of rim protection on the Pistons. Cade Cunningham is a matchup. Not a great defender. He's a great player, just not that good of a defender. And Shea, I mean, he's looking. I think he's top 10 in the MVP rankings so far this season. He has just looked
Yeah.
absolutely spectacular. So, just to repeat, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over 28.5 points, minus 105 at MGM. I will recap all 4 plays after at the end of the show as well. But pick number 2, we are going to the Phoenix Suns, one of the best teams in the NBA right now, at the Philadelphia 76ers. Devin Booker is the man here. Let's hear the play.
So we are betting on Devin Booker over 26.5 points, minus 120 on bet MGM. And yeah, just if you look at the history of his games against the Philadelphia 76ers, he has 35 points average over the last 10 games and went over this line in 9, scored 32 plus points in 9 out of the 10. And one of the main reasons for that is like Philadelphia 76ers fouls a lot, and he's a great free throw merchant. And Embiid is playing deep down in a drop coverage, drop zone actually, and mid range is wide open, and Booker is one of the best mid range scorers. And there is no Cameron Johnson. Craig is not shooting that much. Chris Paul is a bit old now, low usage, shooting 7 to 8 shots a game. DeAndre Ayton could get in foul trouble against the Embiid, so it's down to Booker to just shot 25 times, and he should go over this line pretty easily. This line, I was expected it to be at 28 and a half at least, but he was under this line in the last two games against the Portland, and the Portland were trapping him, blitzing him, and throwing all kinds of the stuff at him. So that's why he had two bad games, and yeah, the line just pulled up too much for me.
And a point I was going to make at some point today, I'll make it now, is that there's, like I said, every NBA team is playing. Every team that's playing has 5 starters. There are a ton of players involved today, and there's a ton of player prop markets for all these players. Naturally, across all the sports books available to you on the openers this early in the day, there's going to be some prices that are wrongly priced for specific players. So today's a really good day, especially like any other day, but today especially, use an odds tracker like BetStamp, an odds finder like BetStamp to go through all of these lines, all of the player props, because there's going to be value available. And maybe for Booker here, a couple points off, this is a very good spot. So with that, keep that in mind for your personal betting. We do have 2 more picks for you guys, a couple same game parlays to round us off here. First one is going to be the Pelicans visiting the Pacers. Let's see what you got.
So for this game, my same game parlay picks are Buddy Hield over 15.5 points, and Zion going to score 20 plus points. It's minus 105 at DraftKings and BetMGM. So Hield is playing amazing this season, which was one of the surprises because I wasn't that high on him. He was just shooting the ball, like forcing shots and stuff. But next to the Halliburton, the game becomes so easy for him. So many quality shots, and he cleared this line in all 7 games this season with 25 plus minutes. And he shouldn't be worried about the minutes because he's playing amazing. Played 36 plus minutes over the last 5, and with Duarte out, he could get, if the game becomes close, he could get maybe even up to 40 minutes, and that should be easy. And Herb Jones should probably be on Tyrese Halliburton, so it's up to Hill to knock up some shots. And the second part of this bet is Zion Williamson. I mean, he's facing a team which is third in pace and third worst defensive rating in the league. Like, that's just the best spot for him. They are actually allow a ton of field goal attempts inside the paint because they trust Miles Turner to protect it, and I don't trust him against the Zion at all. He will get into foul trouble very early, and there is no one else to guard it. And interesting fact, if you look out for Zion over the last 2 seasons, so excluding the season where he missed for the injury, he scored 20 plus points in 45 out of 48 games. So that's 94% of the time clear this line. And with the minutes, pace, and bad defense, I think he should be able to clear this line through the three quarters.
Very interesting. Pacers looking pretty good this season. I believe they're 4-5. The spread on this one's 4 points, so I don't think a blowout is going to be something that ruins this bet here. Buddy Hield has looked very, very good. He's somebody who probably wants to get a trade to somebody who's in a little bit of a better position, but right now enjoying life next to Tyrese Halliburton, who's looking like one of the next superstar point guards. So good spot in both these guys. Good odds at minus 105. And with that, we're going to move into the 4th official play here. I'll preface this one a little bit. Bucks visiting the Hawks, and last week, the Raptors played against the Hawks. Pascal Siakam, I said before the game, was probably going to have a really good game because there's not a single player capable of guarding him on the Hawks. Well, as good as Siakam is, Giannis is much better and much taller and more athletic. So if nobody could guard Siakam, I think guys like DeAndre Hunter and Clint Capella were having nightmares tonight about facing Giannis, and I think you share my sentiments with this one. Let's see the pick here.
So the same game parlay is both bets are on Giannis. Giannis to score over 29.5 points and to gather over 9.5 rebounds.
There's an error there, my bad.
Yeah, it's okay to bet the regular line for Giannis. It's 31.5, and he should cover that too. But he lands so many games at 30, 31, 32, and I just don't want to gamble on his free throw variance. So I took this with rebounds because they played, I think, week ago. Giannis had 34 points and 17 rebounds. So I think that he clears this rebound line so easy. Brook Lopez is just being there, boxing out Clint Capella for Giannis to take rebounds and push the transition. And I think the rebounds are easily covered here. And the points, I mean, he had the usage 40% or more in like most of the games. Yeah, even like 43 and 44%. And two games where he didn't have it. It was the first game of the season with 76er where he said he wasn't ready, and then scored 40 points next game. And the game against the New York Knicks, where they were trapping him, double teaming him and stuff, and he couldn't do much. But Hawks are playing the single cover like they did in the last game, and Giannis scored 34 while he missed it. He missed like 3 easy layups, and yeah, I think this is a game where he should just feast.
Yeah, who do you think on the Hawks? I spoke of matchups. Who do you think is going to be primarily guarding him on the Hawks?
So as the starters, John Collins, and I saw him last night, 2 nights ago against Zion, and he just ain't capable of doing it. And the trouble spot for me is second unit, Okongwu. I think he was probably the best player I saw in the entire NBA at guarding Giannis. But the thing is, they know he's capable, so they put him on the island one-on-one on Giannis. And Giannis will just have huge usage because he knows people are talking about Okongwu being the one player who can guard him. So I expect him to go nuts.
He will take that personally, Giannis. I'm
Yeah.
sure he'll be thinking about that one. So, only worry, I guess, would be a potential blowout. The spread in this one doesn't indicate that. It's 3, but Giannis has been capable of doing this in just over 30 minutes all throughout his career. He's averaging 33 minutes this season. He doesn't need 40 minutes to do this, so I don't even think that's as huge of a worry here. So we have 4 spots that we like for today's game. Recap them all right here. So firstly, pick number 1, SGA over 28.5 points against the Pistons tonight. That's minus 105 at MGM, and we like it because of the minutes distribution he's normally getting and the way he's playing this season. Next one, Suns at Sixers. Devin Booker over 26.5 points, minus 120 at MGM. Joel Embiid in drop coverage may not be the best at contesting those mid-range shots that Devin Booker likes. So Devin Booker, historically has shown very, very well against the Sixers. Third pick, same game parlay. 2 players playing well this season, especially Buddy Hield. We got him over 15.5 points. Zion Williamson over 19.5 points. That's minus 105 at DraftKings or BetMGM. And the fourth pick is the Giannis buffet. We got over 29.5 points and over 9.5 rebounds. You can get that minus 115 at FanDuel, MGM, and DraftKings. But that is your show. Pick and Roll, powered by the Hammer Betting Network. We are typically back every Monday through Friday, every weekday at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, we're going to take a day off because there are no NBA games on the slate. We put all the focus into the loaded slate today. So we will be back on Wednesday. In the meantime, you can follow for the show at The Board NBA on Twitter. You can watch it there on YouTube on The Board NBA YouTube channel or on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheBoardNBA. If you can't catch the show live, that's fine. All 3 of those platforms, you can rewatch the show afterwards or even Catch this on Spotify or Apple Podcast 30 minutes to an hour after the live show ends. And also, for even more content from us, you can follow Pips on Twitter at PipsNBA. You can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Gramegna. And also, you can check out my YouTube channel, Amateur Sports, for Raptors analysis and coverage. Thank you to everybody. Let's go get some winners tonight and enjoy this loaded slate of NBA action.